So the next speaker coming up is Mr. Charles Altshuler, if I pronounce it correctly, and he is the CFO for Global Metals and Mining Limited. Charles is the CFO of Global Metals and Mining and is a chartered accountant with an MBA degree from the Torrance University. He is a finance and business leader with 18 years plus experience. He has held numerous ASX CFO positions. He has strong experience in IPOs, corporate finance, strategy, M&A, reporting, and IT within both listed and family organizations globally across healthcare, mining, industrial, renewable energy, and FMCG retail business. His mining experience prior to Globe includes 7 years in senior finance and business, partnering roles in Anglo-American, Glencore, and Samco Manganese JV in Africa and Australia. Shall we please welcome to the stage Charles.
Thank you so much, Nkando. I'd like to welcome the Honourable Minister for Mining in Malawi to this conference. And she has been instrumental in assisting Globe to be the first company under the Mining Development Act to achieve its MDA. And the MDA, the Mine Development Agreement, shows Malawi's motivation towards ensuring that mining takes a significant role in the country's future. Our Mine Development Agreement is really good for investors. It gives us a tenure of it gives us good mining tenure. It's got a stability from a point of view of tax and law stability. And the Honourable Minister has really taken a great role in helping us achieve that. Our niobium project is critical for safe, ultra-fast battery charging. And the new game-changing market opportunity is in niobium oxide, which makes batteries greener, cheaper, and cleaner. Niobium oxide doped into a lithium-ion battery can ensure that the battery is charged in less than 10 minutes, and it increases the energy of the battery by 200% at a lower cost of material. The Toshiba's niobium titanium oxide, even after 25,000 charging cycles, can still retain 80% of its capacity. Another use of niobium is in ferroniobium. Ferroniobium is predominantly used in the production of high-strength, low-alloy steel, which is used in the construction of pipelines and high-pressure gas pipelines, and because of its greater resistance to heat and corrosion and its extra strength. Just some interesting facts, that if the Eiffel Tower was rebuilt today using high-strength, low-alloy steel, it would only require 2,000 tons instead of the 7,300 tons of wrought iron used, indicating its strong ESG capabilities and in decarbonization of the world. Niobium is a critical mineral in Australia, in the EU, in the US, Japan, and India, and it is number 3 on the US list of critical minerals. Currently, niobium prices range from around $41,500 for 99.5 to $51,500 per ton. And this is a 200% increase compared to 2001. The average manufacturing cost of niobium is around $15,000 per ton per our 2021 definitive feasibility study, clearly showing an impressive margin on this product. Niobium demand will grow, but supply is limited. Currently, 3 mines account for 90% of the global mined niobium supply, and no new mines have been brought into production in the last 50 years. Approximately 10,000 tons of niobium oxide are currently produced worldwide, and this excessive dependence on a single supplier country, which is Brazil, makes global consumers vulnerable, and hence they have not used niobium to its full extent to this point. Neobec and BioVista produce ferroniobium, while CBMM produces a niobium oxide in addition to ferroniobium. And all these 3 companies use the leach process together with an electric arc furnace, which is a carbon intensive and has significant slag. CBMM, really the world's leading producer of niobium oxide, will triple its capacity by 2030 to serve this growing battery market. CBMM are investing in Ekion, Battery Streak, VW Brazil. These companies are already using niobium in their batteries. 25% of CBMM sales will be in the battery market. And this increase in capacity by one of the world's leaders indicates the shift of the market and is a time for new suppliers to enter this market. This is Globe's opportunity. It is the ideal time for Globe to enter the market. You may have a question on how do we compete with an established 50-year-old supply chain? The answer is that we are in a position to introduce modern and efficient mining and refining processes versus these 50-year-old companies. We can introduce a new clean refining process, which is the chlorination process, versus the hydrofluoric acid leach process, to comply with the ESG battery supply chain regulations. We can de-risk the supply chain through an alternative country, being Malawi, and break the current monopolistic dependence on a single supplier source. We have the ability to produce at a low cost in both mining and refining operations, and we can take advantage of this low supply versus high demand cycle. The Kanyika niobium project in Malawi has the potential to become the first globally significant niobium mine in 50 years. It is shovel-ready, fully permitted, covered by the mine development agreement and a mining license, and all environmental and construction and land approvals in order to start construction immediately. With 68 million tons and a 23-year life of mine, we have this potential at this point. Our production in Malawi and our processing in Namibia and Malawi is a conflict-free democratic country, as explained already by the Honourable Minister. It is underpinned by the 2027 strategic plan, where mining will be the main contributor to the development of the country. It's well supported by government. The Honourable Minister, since her appointment in 2001, has supported Globe significantly in its efforts. And all production will take place at the mining site, all the way through to the concentrate level, which includes crushing, grinding, and concentrating. And only the last step will then occur in Namibia. The EIA and a scoping is currently underway to produce niobium oxide, metal powders, and possibly ferroniobium as well. Namibia already has a mature regional focus on green steel, hydrogen, waste management, and a potential for skilled employees and infrastructure sharing. Hence, our decision to place the end refinery in Namibia. As I explained, we have 68.3 million tons of mineral resources and 33.8 million tons of ore reserves. We have just completed our capital raise and entitlement offer, where we've got approximately 8 million. This will enable us to finalize the phase 1 design and to establish cost estimates for our capital and operating procedures. We can produce our product samples from this for the use for offtake agreements. Our first ore is expected in November 2024, and that will require a capital raise of approximately $70 million US, which can then, for our phase 1, produce 720 tons of niobium oxide. After 3 years, our plan is to move to full-scale production with around a $250 million US capital raise, producing 3,250 tons of niobium oxide at full scale. We have a relatively simple mining operation. Open pit mining with free dig, load and haul, crushing with a primary jaw and secondary cone, EDS and bore mill, single stage flotation, drying on site, and production of the concentrate. Trucking that to Namibia, where we will have our modern refinery process using a chlorination reactor. This is where the metals get converted to gaseous chlorides at high temperatures, and selective cooling of the chlorides, produces the metal chlorides at different levels. In other words, producing a niobium oxide as well as tantalum, zircon iron, and uranium in small quantities at a very high purity. This produces a greater than 99% niobium oxide, and the chlorine is all recycled back into the process. In addition to niobium making batteries greener, cheaper, and cleaner, and hence supporting climate change, our own internal ESG processes are relevant. Our social and labor plan indicates a percentage of our turnover will be given to the local communities, and training of the artisans and other disciplines will draw trainees to the Kanika project. Globe will build a dam to divert the river that runs through the current mine site, and raise the dam to ensure that the local community have fresh water, as well as being able to produce crops which will be used for our biomass. Globe will be able to purchase this biomass, giving the local community cash, as well as using that to upgrade biomethane to replace 60% of the mining fleet. In addition, the mine will have solar power as well as hydropower. We are moving from a 12 reagent to a 4 reagent single water circuit, and adding EDS spiral ball mill, reducing power consumption and lower flotation throughput, as well as the chlorination regenerating back into the process and creating no effluent water. Our 2021 definitive feasibility study shows an NPV of 1 billion. That is 50 times greater than our current market cap of around 20 million. Our total revenue over life of mine is 5.6 billion per our feasibility, with an EBITDA of 3.7 billion and a 50% IRR over the 23-year life of the project. We are currently looking at process improvements expected in Q1 2024 on the concentrator, moving it from a 2-stage to a 1-stage, saving significant capex, moving from 12 reagents to 4, saving OPEX, as well as doing an EDS multi-shaft mill combination, saving OPEX as well. And most crucial is the move from the hydrofluoric sulfuric acid leach process, which was originally spec'd for the Kanika niobium project, and now changing this to a chlorination with chlorine recycle, being a cleaner process and saving OPEX for the project. Our near-term value drivers are such that we signed our MDA in March 2023. We just completed our capital raise, which we are now have that significant cash in order to complete our advanced sample test work, to produce our concentrate, to produce our offtake samples, to be able to acquire those offtake partners, as well as update our feasibility study to be released in Q1 2024, which will establish our cost estimates for capital expenditure and for our phase 1 process plant. Thank you so much, and welcome you to say hello to me at our booth. Thank you.